Okay, so got a little setup here for just a regular seam. Gonna do it with an iron. I'm gonna sweat it in, it's secure, and then lay a nice bead down on it, weave it, and make it look presentable. You notice I'm using this is actually a homemade iron tip. This one's actually made by my brother-in-law, a very talented copper worker. Lay it down and sweat it in. Get the iron nice and hot. This is just a regular overlap seam. I would prefer to do any kind of work like this with a lock seam. That'd be useful for a locked and solder panel roof or edging of some kind of a pan you're going to do. Well, that's a pretty decent sweat. We can do a little more. The width of this iron isn't very big. It's kind of a throwaway at this point. It's actually kind of small. This is more useful for smaller craft work. That flux tastes horrible. I'm gonna start laying in a bead. You probably can't see it so well at that distance where I've got the camera. It's just perched kind of precariously, but I'll give you a pan over view. Actually, right now doing this a little bit backwards, really should be moving in the other direction. Pulling the solder into the joint. I can still do that. In fact, I think I'll do that. Yeah, it just doesn't look as good. I need a little more flux, a little more heat. You don't need a lot of heat. This is a small torch or a small iron tip. Big potatoey ones that you get that come with these torch kits are usually just mitered bar stock. Not my favorite type of tip to use. Yeah, this is going down a little wider now. Can be a good thing. For the most part, it's best to keep it within 7/8 to 1 inch. Any wider than that, you just start wasting material. It's looking pretty reasonable. I can give you a closer look. It's about 8 inches long, about 1 inch wide. Well, that's bead. Jonathan Hawkins, and that's soldering with an iron.